Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me? If it's okay for you, you can write me something on the chat saying hello, just to say if it's okay. Okay, perfect. So I'm Agathe, and today I'm here with a representative from HEC Paris to discuss about the Master in Management program at HEC Paris, and also to talk about the selection and admission process with Join a School in France. So this webinar will be composed of two parts. The first part will be about the HEC presentation, and the second part will be with me regarding all the selection process through Join a School in France. But now I will let Sophie to introduce herself and to talk about the Master in Management program at HEC Paris.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and a special thank you to Agathe, who organized this event, and Join a School in general. So it's with great pleasure that I'll share information with you about HEC and more specifically the Master in Management to which you can apply through Join a School in France application process. So before I go into the details of the program, I just want to give you an overview of HEC. So we have a very complete, unique range of programs. We have the Master in Management, which falls into the pre-experience master's category, which means that if you're interested in this program, you're eligible as long as you're in your final year of bachelor's, or if you have even a master's degree, you're eligible. And if you have between 0 to 3 years maximum professional work experience by the time you would start in September 2021 for this year. If you have between 3 to 10 years of professional work experience, a really great program for you would be the MBA. And then we have executive MBA programs, PhD programs, and the summer school, which is a really great way to get a taste of HEC before committing to a full-on either master's or MBA program. I won't go too much into our rankings because I think they speak for themselves. The only one I like to mention, because I think it's unique and it really testifies to the quality of teaching at HEC, is that we're number 3 on the Alma Mater Index. So what that means is if you take all the top CEOs worldwide, we're the number 3 school represented behind Stanford and Harvard. So when you come to HEC, we don't just help you go into whatever industry interests you. We really help you become a leader of that industry. And that's why leadership potential is something that we evaluate in the application process. And that's why it's also something we try to instill during the whole program. So we have about 4,500 students enrolled in all the programs I introduced in the last slide, with 130 international partners, 105 nationalities. So we really love to see applications from all over the world, and we strive for a nice balance in our student population. The last fact and figure I'll share with you, because I think it's super important, is that we have 60,000 alumni in 135 different countries. So that means that if you want to change countries, if you want to change sectors, you can always count on our alumni network to support you in that shift. Even in your initial career path, there are internship and job opportunities shared with current students almost on a daily basis. The alumni offer mentorship for students. It's a really tight-knit community, and that I think that's also why it was ranked number 1 alumni community by The Economist this year. So know that you can definitely count on that as a support system. There are a lot of different programs that are Master in Management programs, but this to me is really what makes the HEC Master in Management unique. First, we maximize class hours and minimize class sizes. So you really will never be in the classroom with more than 50 students, and those classes will always be taught by full-time HEC faculty or corporate partners that we've invited to come teach let's say someone from Bain to teach a strategy course. But they'll never be taught by teachers' assistants. So you really are getting top-notch teaching from our professors or corporate partners. We also strive for a perfect balance between theory and practice. So this is really the element that makes our teaching unique, in the sense that we give you the theoretical foundation you need to be successful in your future career, but another element that will make you successful is to give you a lot of practice throughout the program. So you're constantly working on company projects, on case studies, you're networking with during all our career fairs with our alumni, and also working on interview prep with your classmates. So the practical approach is something that's really important in our programs. For example, in January of your first year, You'll get a choice between a lot of different what we call academies. One of them, for example, is called risk management. So you'll be put in a room with a couple other classmates and you have a few minutes to learn about your company. Then you get a phone call with a crisis. So we just found out you sell horse meat in your lasagna. How are you going to deal with this issue internally? How are you going to address the press? So it's just this whole course around crisis management, because frankly, what company, even startup, never goes through a crisis? So it gives you good tools for the future, just in case. And it also what makes HEC a particularly inspiring environment. We have personal development programs, as I mentioned before, many networking events. We know the current climate and context is a bit difficult. So some of our study trips, for example, were canceled, but our career services office has been doing an incredible job adapting it to online and seeing the advantages of having certain career events online, in the sense that we can reach out to even more companies. Our students can maximize their networking, because instead of being able to see 10 companies, since you had to get from point A to point B, you can meet with 30. So we really are trying to make it as engaging and beneficial for the students as possible, even with this more difficult context. And then a strong campus and social life, which I'll touch on a little bit later on in the presentation. So now for more information about the program, you can see this is the typical Master in Management class profile. So we have about 200 to 300 students in the class with 64 different nationalities. So you'll have a really nice diversity in the program. The average age is about 23, because remember, this is a pre-experienced program. There's a average GMAT score here. We will take questions at the end, so I can definitely touch more on the average GMAT and average GRE scores later on when I talk about the admissions process. But know that this program is open to all academic backgrounds. Most of our students come from business or management backgrounds, but that's not necessarily, our preference. It's just they're more inclined to think, okay, master's in management after business in my bachelor's. So it really is open to all academic backgrounds. We do need a certain level of quantitative skills, but that's, again, something that you can definitely prove through the GMAT or the GRE or even the TAJMAJ. In the first year of the program, that's what we call more the generalist phase. So you'll have core classes, you'll have elective courses. If you've taken certain of these core classes, you can be exempt to up to 21 credits, which allows you to take even more electives, and you can already start to customize the first year of the program. So there is this possibility to really tailor it to what you want starting in the first year. If you don't come from a business background, you'll get the foundation that you need before specializing in your second year. So throughout the year, you have fact projects, you have consulting projects, case studies, company projects, and conferences, many conferences that you can attend. So it's quite a dynamic year in your first year. Then you have the option of doing a gap year. So it's not obligatory. It's really up to you to choose. A lot of our students, thanks to our networking in the first year, get offered pretty attractive internship opportunities. And so they choose to do that during the gap year. So they'll do 2 6-month internships. That's really the most typical. One in, let's say, investment banking, the other one in consulting, just to better determine what they want to choose for their specialization, and to be able to put these 2 different experiences on their CV. So, one student I spoke with recently, he did 6 months in London, in investment banking, and then did 6 months in Dubai working at BCG. So, he gets to put those 2 experiences on his CV, and in his second year was able to better determine what he wanted to specialize in. So for the specialization phase, that you have many possibilities. You can either stay on campus and specialize in any of these programs that you see here. So strategic management, international finance, marketing, you have sustainability and social innovation, entrepreneurship. So that means that you're completing your specialization, whichever you choose, on campus, on HEC's campus for the whole second year. You also have the possibility of doing the SEMS program, so doing 1 semester in one of our SEMS partner universities, and automatically your specialization becomes international business. Or The last option is to do a whole international double degree in one of our partner institutions. So those include Tsinghua, Yale, HKUST, FGV, MIT. There are a lot of different institutions. So that means that you would be getting a master in management from HEC and a degree from the partner university in which you would be spending your whole second year. So that's quite an attractive option for students. Just know that for the US institutions, you do have to pay US tuition fees, which can be pretty steep. So just keep that in mind. Whatever you choose in your second year, you don't determine until the end of your first year or even during your gap year. So just know that these are all possibilities you have for your M2, so your second year of the program. But for right now, all you need to focus on is just applying to the Master in Management program. So in terms of career paths after the program, we know this is very important so that you feel like you're really investing your time in something that's worthwhile. We have very solid career placement after the program. 98% of our graduates are employed within 3 months. They're located mostly in Europe, so the UK or other European countries, but a lot we're noticing are going to Africa or even Asia, even the US. It's just a teeny bit tricky, the US, in terms of visa processes. So usually what happens is that the students will start in Europe and then try to get transferred to the US office. We have a lot of students going into consulting or the financial services sector, but tech, we're very strong in entrepreneurship. So many of our students create their own startups. You can kind of see a trend here. Luxury, we have close relationship with LVMH and Kering, thanks to our marketing specialization. So that's something that could be an option for you as well. In terms of the tuition fees, this is to kind of give you a breakdown of what your M1, so your first year tuition fees and second year tuition fees would be. Know that there are a lot of scholarship opportunities that you can browse on our website. So if you click on the Master in Management program, you click on fees and financing, and you'll see all the different financing options for you. Excluding the tuition fees, we estimated that for housing, food, leisurely activities, everything, our students are spending about €1,000 per month. Of course, that depends on your choice of lifestyle. If you're going into Paris every night and eating at expensive restaurants, your budget might be a little bit more expensive, but that's kind of an average of what our students are spending. In terms of the extracurricular life, this is really an important part of being an HEC student, and we encourage our students to invest themselves in this part of their life on campus as much as possible. So the campus is set outside of Paris, between Paris and Versailles. It's really beautiful, especially this time of year. On campus, we have about 130 different student associations. They range from professional to cultural. So there's, for the professional ones, there's the HEC Seed. They actually have a lot of events at Station F, which is the world's largest startup hub in Paris. Then we also have HEC Business Game. They work with Bain on a big competition that invites a lot of different schools on campus and have a big business game association competition. And then there are also all the athletic student associations, of course, because we're on a campus slightly outside of Paris. We have a lot of room for all the sports you can imagine. And then for any non-French citizens, you are guaranteed on-campus accommodation. They're really quite nice. They've almost all been renovated. So the standard room is usually your own bedroom, of course, with your own bathroom and a kitchenette. And that's it for the HEC part of the presentation. If you have questions, I'd be happy to take a few now in the chat.
So maybe, Sophie, you can tell more about the scores regarding GMAT, GRE?
Yep, exactly. So we get a question about the grades. What's the minimum grade point average that you need? We don't really have one because we have students applying from a lot of different academic systems and different specializations. Some are studying humanities, some are studying finance. So the best way to evaluate kind of where you stand is to compare yourself to your own class average. See if you're at your class average or above. That's usually a pretty good sign. If you're slightly worried about your grades, we really have a holistic approach through this process of evaluating your application. So if you're slightly weaker in one department, it can be compensated by other elements in your application. So one other element that can compensate is usually the GMAT, GRE, or TAJMAJ. Again, for these three scores, we don't have a preference between the three. You can really pick whichever one you want, whichever one is best suited to your background. We don't have a minimum score, but the average score we chose for the average score we accepted last year for the GMAT was between 700 and 710. The average score for the GRE we accepted last year was about 320. And the average score for the TAJMAJ was about 400. We do require English proficiency test, and I think that's good for scores. Is there anything, we look at your professional experiences. If you don't have many professional experiences, but you've been super involved in your student associations, that's really fantastic. You can definitely compensate for one with the other. And there's no specific internship experience we're looking for you to have on your CV. Whether it's in a big company or small company, what's most important is what you learned. Did you take on a leadership position? What was your role, and how much did it add value to your life to have this experience?
So we have questions regarding the IELTS or TOEFL also.
Yes, I'm going to have to look at my average notes. That's a very good question. So for the IELTS, we really try to look for a 7.5. For the TOEIC, we look for a 900 and make sure to take all 4 parts. For the TOEFL, it's a 105. And for the Cambridge, we need a C1 level. Hopefully that helps.
And do you have quota regarding the selection process through Join a School in France?
Well, that's a really good question. In terms of quotas for nationality, for academic background, we do not have any quotas. We really do select just the best candidates who apply.
And do you think that there is a difference between your selection process, your direct way, and the international way through Join a School in France?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. It's a really good question. It's completely up to you to decide. So we don't have a preference between the two. If you want to apply directly through our website and add basically the only difference is through our website, you can add a second program to which you apply. But what's fantastic about Join a School is that, you're applying to a cohort of schools. You'll find out more about that a little bit later on in the presentation, but it's up to you to decide. We really don't have a preference.
And do you have the ideal profile for an applicant?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's really no standard. So what I can tell you, we don't have a perfect candidate in mind. What we're looking for is someone with cross-cultural sensitivity. As I said, our programs are very diverse. So we want someone who's going to be able to contribute with their own experiences and cultural background, and who also knows how to adapt to others. So adaptability through, cross-cultural sensitivity. It's a competitive school with a competitive selection process. So we're looking for someone with, of course, high academic standards and solid test scores. And we're looking for someone with a wide range of experiences. So, that's why I said we don't look for any specific type of internship or student association involvement. As long as it's been an enriching experience in your life and you're able to present that either through your essay questions or in an interview, that's really great. The interview process, all I can say about that is that it's really an evaluation of your relational skills. Are you able to be engaged and enthusiastic, but coherent and concise? It's really a way for you to present the more relational side, because the quantitative side we usually evaluate in the application.
And maybe the last one, do you have a scholarship at HEC Paris?
Yep. We don't offer full scholarships, so there are a lot of different opportunities. If you apply by the first admission deadline, you could be eligible for the Eiffel Scholarship. More information about that is available on our website. all admitted candidates are automatically considered for what we call the HEC Foundation Scholarship. So that amount ranges between 3,000 to about 12,000 euros. There's nothing you need to do to apply. It's just a merit scholarship. So we will automatically evaluate you and then publish the results about a week after the admissions results. And then we have other opportunities that you can find on our website. For example, the Garzouzi Scholarship for Lebanese applicants is a great opportunity. So you can definitely take a look at our website, and you'll see everything that exists there. I know I tend to talk quickly and I give a lot of information, but please know that we have a whole team of recruitment managers that are here to help you with the application process, with any questions you have about the program. So if you need to get in touch with us, I think my email address will be listed at the end of this presentation. It's also on the contact page of our website. So it's admissionsmasters at hec.fr. So admissions plural, masters plural, all one word, at hec.fr. You can contact us. You can send us your CV, any questions you have. We really are here for you. So no problem.
This
Yes.
one.
Masters.
Masters. So another one.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Sorry, I don't know how to type in the.
Okay, admissions, masters.
At hec.fr.
Like that.
Yep, exactly. Perfect.
Okay.
And just one last question I saw at the end. It's so knowing French isn't obligatory in the application process. If you have a very, very basic level of French or no French at all, you do have to take just one French class, which helps you kind of in your networking with other companies, because even if you're not looking to work in France after the program, some of the representatives for jobs in London, for example, come from the Paris office. So it's just always good to be able to say bonjour. So that's kind of the idea behind the basic French level class.
Okay, and just one more question regarding the GPA. I don't know if you said that before, but what is the average, the score?
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't have a minimum GPA that we're looking for. It basically, you can compare yourself to your cohort, so your own class, and see if you're about the average of your class or above. That's usually a good sign. We have students applying from all grading systems in all countries and academic backgrounds, so it's difficult for us to have a minimum score. Just compare yourself to your class, and if you have a good GPA compared to them, then that's a good sign.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sophie. Yeah. So I think that your presentation was really helpful for the students, and I hope we will do another webinar maybe next semester. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks again for inviting me, and thank you everyone for participating. Good luck for the rest of the webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So hello again, everyone. Thank you for being here. So Sophie has done the presentation regarding HEC Paris, but now you can stay at the webinar with Join School in France team. So you have Sophia and Bastien, my two colleagues that are here today to answer your questions and to respond to your question. And I'm also here. But first, what is Join School in France? So to be clear, there is no difference between the selection process through HEC Paris and the selection process through Join School in France. This is just another process. So you have the direct way, directly with the school, and the international way with Join School in France. So Join School in France represents 5 business schools: HEC Paris, ESTP Business School, EM Lyon Business School, Schema Business School, and Audencia Business Schools. They are all prestigious schools in France. ESCP Business Schools has also different campuses in Europe. And if you apply through Join a School in France, this is only for the Master in Management programs in all these 5 business schools. So the advantage to apply through Join a School in France is that you will only do one online application for the 5 business schools. So that is why we do not ask for a minimum score, because each school has its own score regarding the GMAT, the GPA, the IELTS, the TOEIC, etc. English test and written test, they all have the different criteria. That's why we always say to the students, do your best and do what you can in order to have the best score as possible. I hope it's clear for you now. And of course, to apply through Join School in France, it's really important to have at least a bachelor degree or a license degree in order to apply to a master in management. Then you also have to speak English. That is why we ask for an English test. But for people who already have done their studies in English, the 3 years or the 4 years fully in English, you don't have to do an English test, but you will have to prove it by uploading the a certificate of your school saying that the medium of instruction was in English. You can ask this proof, or you can, you can upload this proof, or you can upload also the academic transcripts saying that all your courses were taught into English. Then, I think it's really important now, the recruitment sessions. Of course, we have many sessions because it was not it's not possible that all the students apply at the same time. This is just for the organization of the students and for our organization. So you have the session 1, session 2, session 3, and session 4. There is no difference between the sessions except the dates. So for the session 1, you have to upload all your documents before October 7 at midnight Paris time. So I hope you have already started your application, because an application takes time, and I really insist on this kind of documents such as the English test and the written test. I don't know if you know that, but you have to do the GMAT or the GRE or the TAJMAJ. This is the written test, and this written test you have to register for a session and then to get your scores, because without your scores you will not be able to be eligible through Join School in France and through any business schools. It's really important. So you have to anticipate your actions in order to get these scores and to upload your test taker, your official test taker copy of this test. So just to give you an idea of the format of the test, it looks like this. So you have the GMAT, the GRE, the TAJMAJ, and also the CAT for Indian people. Um, we prefer the GMAT, GRE, and TAJMAJ. So for Indian people who are not able to do another test except CAT, it's okay. But if you have the possibility to do the GMAT or the GRE or the TAJMAJ, it's better. Then, regarding the English test, we have these 4 types of tests: the TOEFL, the TOEIC, the IELTS, and the Cambridge test. So the most important is to upload this kind of documents onto your online application through Join a School in France. Then, for example, you have the letter of recommendation. You have 2 letters of recommendation to upload. This is the best format as possible that you can upload, but we know that with the crisis, it's sometimes complicated for you to upload this kind of letter with the stamp of the school, with the signature. So do not worry. We know the situation. It's not a problem. But what we really need is to see the contact of your referee. It's really important to have the email address, the name, the first name, and also the position of your professor or of your, for example, your your referee during your internship. And I insist on the fact that we really prefer, the schools really prefer academic letters. So if you have two academic letters, it's really good. If you have one professional and one academic, it's okay. And if you only have two professional recommendation letter, it's okay, but it can be a disadvantage. Regarding the payment proof, so this is not the proof that you can pay the school. No, this is not that. This is only the payment proof corresponds to the 190 euros fees paid to join a school in France. This is the tuition fee regarding your application, and that's all. So you will receive the bill, and you have to upload this. Um, then when you will have when you will upload all these documents, so the English test, the academic transcripts regarding all your courses during your 3 years or your 4 years of degree, then your diploma. Of course, if you cannot have your diploma because you will graduate on, for example, June 2021. Of course, you can upload a school certificate saying that you will be graduated at the end of the year. Your identity documents, it can be a passport or an identity card, the resume, and also the two academic recommendation letters and the application fees. Then, if your application is completed before the October 7 for the first session, we will send your application to the 5 business schools. Then the 5 business school will give us your eligibility, if you are eligible to take an interview. If you are eligible at least at one school to take an interview, Join a School in France, the Join a School in France team will organize an interview for you in your city or in your country. The interview will be at a French institutions, for example, a French embassy, Campus France, or a lycée français, a partner schools, or maybe the Chamber of Commerce in your city or in your country next to your city. Okay. Um, what is the interview through Join School in France? So, as I said before, because I had questions on the chat regarding the alumni. So, an alumni is a former student from HEC Paris, Schema, EM Lyon, Audencia, and ESCP Business School. And I will recruit alumni in your city or in your country in order to be your jury members during the interview. So you will have the opportunity to meet an alumni, a former student from maybe HEC Paris, and he will be your jury member during this interview, and you will be able to ask questions to build a relationship and to increase your international community of regarding the 5 business schools. So this is an advantage for you, and the interview is around 30 minutes in English, of course, and the questions will be about your personal skills, motivation, and maybe general culture. It depends on the jury member. I can tell you that it will be exactly like that. No, every people are different, so I don't know, but they know that they need to ask you questions regarding your personality and your motivation, and maybe your hobbies, what you like to do in life, why do you want to go to France, do you like French culture, can you tell me about the French culture, or maybe they can ask you questions regarding the crisis. What are the impacts, what are the consequences of this crisis all around the world? I don't know. This is examples of questions maybe during your interviews. Then, some tips for you. You can read the rules. This is really important. If you read the rules on our website, joinschoolinfrance.com, you will understand all the process. And if you have more questions, we are here. You can also read the FAQ. The FAQ is the frequently asked questions, because each year we have almost the same questions, and it's totally normal. But you can read this FAQ, and maybe you will be more informed about the process. You can also go on our YouTube channel in order to watch the webinars, all the replays of the webinars. And for example, this webinar is you will receive the replay of this webinar tomorrow, and it will be also on the YouTube channel tomorrow. You can follow us on social media because we are really active on it. So we post a lot, we published a lot of advice for candidates. And to conclude, what I can say is you have, in order to apply through Join School in France, there is absolutely no difference between the direct way and the international way. The only difference is that you have 5 more chance to join a school in France. And it's easier because you have only to do one online application for 5 business schools and for 5 prestigious business schools that are top ranked in France and all over the world. Then you need to have an international profile. An international profile means that you need to do 3 or 4 years abroad with the diploma. You need to be graduated with a bachelor or a license degree. You have to speak English, and also you really need to anticipate your actions regarding the English test and the written test if you do not have it. And I think that's all. So, is it okay for you? Can I answer? Do you have questions? Of course, this is our team. For the moment, you can ask. You can write us email, and Bastien, Sophia, and I will answer. Um, and you can follow us on all these social media. Okay, so I will take time to read your question. So I will just come back on this slide regarding the sessions for you. So session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4. It's really important. You can already start your application even if you choose to do the session 3. You can start your application just to know how it works and ask your questions. It's really important to anticipate. Yes, of course. Antonio, yes, if you apply through Join School in France, of course, you can be eligible to have a scholarship, of course. Okay. So I am waiting a little bit for your questions. So, Minelia, regarding your questions, of course you can do that if you want to maximize your chance with several programs. However, you through Join a School in France, you can only apply for the Master in Management program. So you can apply through HEC Paris for the MBA, for example, and you can apply through Join a School in France for the Master in Management. You can do that because it is different. But if you apply through Join a School in France so for the master in management, and you apply again um, to HEC Paris for the master in management program, the direct way, you will have a problem because um, you can do the both way. Okay, so you will have to choose. That's why, and that's just the little problem. You just have to choose the way. But if it is for a different program, it is okay. So it is okay for you. So do not hesitate. Okay. Sorry, current in the process. The motivation letter, yes, in the process it is required, but this is not a document. This is we call them the motivation questions. This is 5 questions, I think, 5 or 4 questions. In the process, and you will have to write a few lines on your personality, on your motivation, etc. So this is 5 questions within the process through Join School in France, and it's really important to take time to write these questions because um, I will. Um, I will take these questions and I will give them to your jury members. So this is the base for the interview. The interview will be based on your 5 motivation questions through Join School in France. That is why it's really important, and this is like the motivation later. Okay, so thank you very much. So do not forget, tomorrow you will receive the replay of this webinar. If you do not receive the replay, because maybe I can forget that, you have to go on our YouTube channel, and you will find the replay. Thank you very much for your participation. And I really hope that you will join a school in France and that you will start your online application, because there is no reason. It's really easy. We are here for you, Sophia, Bastien, and I. And do not hesitate to write us an email if you do not understand something. And wish you good luck. Thank you very much. Bye bye.